All right, guys. So I already put what you're gonna need in the I guess the slide or the picture I'm gonna put up, but just a quick rundown. You're gonna need for this specific computer and me and others like this. You're gonna need a little paper clip. You're gonna need a toothbrush. This is just to knock down some dust. If you have an what's it called? Like an air blower, those little electrical cleaning cans. If you have a safe electrical vacuum, I guess you could use that as well. It has to be something that doesn't cause or doesn't produce electricity or current. Okay, and I got some plastic clips, little tongs right here, just so I don't damage any components of the computer. I got conducto knot. This is pretty much a ultra liquid. It's liquid metal. It's the same thing as a thermal compound. The only difference is it's considered a bit better at reducing the heat. Now I bought this because I'm not sure if this computer specifically has or already liquid metal or not. So I bought it just in case. If not, I'll just be using this if this is what it uses. I know these computers, a lot of times they have thermal pads. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be switching those thermal pads to some K5 Pro. It's pretty much a thermal paste for thermal pad replacement. It's thicker than thermal compound. Okay, it's a lot thicker, and you're gonna need a precision kit. It doesn't have to be Klein. It could be anything. This is what I had. Well, this is what I bought, right? And this is what I have on hand right now. So you're mainly going to be using your Phillips. Yeah, and they got different sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. And one more thing before I forget. So I got here some terry cloths and another towel. You can use microfiber towels as well. Just something that doesn't leave a bunch of like lint and I guess residue. This stuff has been washed like 1,000 times, so it doesn't. All the lint's gone, but it's still very soft, so it's not gonna damage. And you're gonna want some alcohol just to wipe down all the old compound. And you want to make sure it's 91 or more. You can also use 75 or 70% isopropyl alcohol. I'm going with this one only because this is what's been online the most on the recommendations to get. Now, all right, guys, so let's start. First things first, you want to make sure your computer is either on a wooden surface so that it could discharge whatever electricity is going on around it, or get yourself a silicone pad, right? Something that you could put your computer on that doesn't produce electricity. So first things first, it's make sure that you reset your battery. So go ahead and press and hold down the power button. If your computer turns on, that's fine. Just keep letting it turn off. Right? Eventually what will happen is it'll turn off and nothing will happen. So we're good. The screen didn't turn on, so we're good. Okay, now let's close it. All right, let's flip it over. On this specific computer, there is something called an EC reset. You can't tell, but there's a little button right here, or not a button, a little hole where you're gonna put in the paper clip. Let's see, maybe get this light on here. All right there to your right, top right corner right there. All that does is it cycles through the power so that there's no electricity running through the battery. Now, it doesn't mean there isn't any electricity in the computer, right? Because a lot of times your screen has power. There's a bunch of stuff with power, so they're still there. So let's go ahead and get your paper clip that I said from the beginning and squeeze it. You're gonna hear a little pop. That means that you just press the button. You're gonna hold it for 15 seconds. All right, hold it. All right, after 15 seconds, take it off. Now you're not gonna need this anymore. Go ahead and put this aside so that you don't have any metal next to your computer. So there is a schematic, and I'm gonna go ahead and mark these all for you guys to see how the order is, just so you guys can get the whole understanding, because there is a process in taking off each screw. All right, guys, so here you go. I marked them. You got 1, 2, where's it, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's the order. It is 14 and 15. Here, you can't see it because it's under this factory seal. Don't worry about this. At least for me, right? If you got warranty, then go ahead and take this down to your MSI repair office or service center. I don't have insurance, so there's no really need. I called them up, and pretty much they just told me this was going to be at least $250 worth of I guess of repairs for the basic repaste of the thermal compound. I'm not gonna pay that because I know how to do this myself. Not that I'm a great, I guess technician or something, but back when I was younger, I used to do a lot of computer repairs and Xbox flashing and PS3 jailbreakings and Ford and all that random stuff. But I ended up getting into computers, I guess. So sorry about in the trades. So here we're going to be using a Phillips #1 for all this. So let's start here. And whenever you take them off, make sure you got somewhere to put them and make sure it's safe. You can always touch wood right here, and this will de-energize whatever you have going on. But what I'm trying to say is always make sure you follow this, and always make sure that your tip is the right size for the screw. Here you can see it's the perfect size. There's no wobbling. There's nothing. It's really tight. So that's what you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all the screws in a cup that says case. That's just a little extra precaution so that I don't end up misplacing them. And plus you don't want to lose them, right? You don't want to end up having to go without another screw. So and I can tell just from looking at my computer that there is a bunch of dust now, and this isn't, and I'm always cleaning my area, right? This is just from, I guess, the fan taking up so much dust. So I know I'm gonna have to clean it real good. And I'm gonna go ahead and get my my electronic, a little, well, not electronics, a little spray can with a bunch of air, the electric cleaner, just to make sure. And another tip, you want to make sure they're not really energized, so every so often do that. And make sure you don't got your, even though it's useful, make sure you don't got it magnetized. You don't want to end up ruining your computer because you got a tip that's magnetized. Okay, so I'm gonna pause it right here because there's really no need. Once I'm done, I'll turn it on. All right, guys, so here now, once we were taking off all the screws, there are little clips all around here. So the way we're gonna start off is hitting the edges. So we're gonna get our plastic clips. You could get something thinner, smaller, so that it doesn't, I guess, have problems going inside the edges. So let me move the camera right here so you can see a bit better. Okay, so you can see right here, this is where the case is, right? You're gonna put it in here and you can hear the little pop, right? It's just barely enough pressure. We're not trying to ruin the computer, so we're not trying to cause harm to it. It's just to pop. It's just to pop the edges off the case. It's very thin, very small. Okay, continue it all around. If you have like a little suction cup, I've seen a guy do it with that. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it with this. It seems to be working, and again, I'm not trying to cause any damage, so I'm not going extremely hard. Okay, this is just basic stuff right here. Just put it in the crack and pop it open. If you have to switch sides to get a better angle, do that. You don't want to, force your computer, the case to open up, and then, having some sort of issue down the road because you put too much pressure on it. So just make sure you got it good. All right, now we got the edges. Now let's hit the tops. All right, once you got it in, okay, you're gonna do that. And now you can start feeling there's still one here that's caught on bottom right here. So you want to lift it, I guess, now that we got that. And now you want to put your finger on that. Oh, maybe I have another. You want to pick this up a bit. You don't want to damage anything, so, don't stress your computer out, I guess. All right. Well, there we go. Now we got that. Now to get the last part right here. All right, guys. Last step is the top. So some guys prefer that, I guess, over what I did, but it's the same thing, honestly. All right, there's a little crack right here. You're gonna have to maneuver it a bit until you get it. Again, you just want light pressure. You don't want to damage your computer. You just want the clips to get off. Okay. Last one. There you go. Okay. So let me put this flat before I do that. Okay, so here we are. Got the case. See how dirty it is. Pretty dirty right there. And my fans are dirty. Extremely dirty. So that's also one of the reasons why I think it's been crazy. So you got a thermal pad right there. I'm not gonna touch that. And let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and take this screen off so we could get to the fans and the thermal pads and the paste. All right, so I went ahead and took the screwdriver, or this screw out right there, and I'm gonna go ahead and take this one out too. Yep, you got a little ice cream, man. All right, and here we got a smaller size screw, so we're gonna take that off right here as well. Just make sure you get it, and make sure again you put them in a cup. I'm gonna go ahead and mark this battery. And the assembly should be pretty easy. It's not complicated. It'll just be this one, that one, and where is it? And that one right there. All right, so what we're gonna do now is take off the battery. So this over here. So we're gonna do it gently. We don't want to damage anything, and don't pull it. There's a cable right there. You just want to make sure that you got this on the side before you do that. All right, the way this works is you pull it from the bottom and at the top at the same time. That way your wires aren't having trouble getting out. All right, guys. So if you can see right there, all right, just pull it, but push it down at the same time so you get both pressures. You do not want to just pull from the wires, as it might cause damage to your wiring system. So you do not want to, again. All right, so get your finger from the bottom and get your finger from the top, and you could go ahead and wiggle it out. Okay, both sides. You do not want to put any pressure on anything that you think can rip your cable off. And first time you do it, it'll be kind of scary. All right, guys, took a little bit longer, but there you go. They're still there. They're safe. Just be careful not to pull too hard. Go ahead and put that on the side. and you want to have a big enough space for all this right here. You can see it's going to start building up. All right, we're going to open it up, and we're going to press the power button one more time. Do it safe, slowly, and this is just to take down any residual energy that the motherboard might have. And hold it down for 15 seconds. All right, we're good. Right now, we're gonna remove the thermal pad. So go back and change your tip from the, what was it? From the 000. We're gonna go back to the Phillips 1 again, and we're gonna be removing this screw right here. This is the hard drive, and it went from being huge to this little thing right here. So this we're gonna put right there, and let's get our cut and mark it. And what I'm gonna do here is also put the SSD in that. So SSD. And to take off the SSD, what you do is get your plastic tongs or whatever these are. You don't want to damage anything, so, and safely pull it out. Okay, don't touch anything. This is the thermal pad, keeps your computer cool. It's pretty thick, it might actually be like 2 amps. So all right, and this screw, I'm making sure that it's not touching the SD drive, so I'm going to put this right next to that so I know what it's for. But I'm not going to touch it, and I'm not going to make sure they touch each other. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. A lot of freaking ambulances. All right, so we're gonna get this up right here, the clip. And you're gonna pull it. That's it. Very simple. This one right here, we're gonna pull from the back. Okay, this isn't from the front, so make sure you got that. If you got long fingernails, I guess you could do that too. If not, you're gonna have to do it like me. All right, and pull back softly. All right, this one, I'm gonna see what we have down here, just so I don't damage it. And whatever tape or protection this is, really good stuff. I mean, this stuff is still tight. Okay. All right, let me work on this while I pause it. All right, got it off. I'm not gonna take it off all the way as I want. I want to put it back. It's probably there for a reason. I don't want to damage it. Okay, so flip the security thing and pull it, and pull this back. It's a little bit short, so try to pull it from this blue line right here, and gently, as you do not want to damage it. Okay. All right, now we got that out the way. Let's see what's next. Now we're gonna take off the speaker connection. Get your fingertips or your fingernails, put it on each edge. This doesn't have a security little safety thing, so just pull it back. These are your speakers, your left and right. If you want to replace them. If you don't, I guess just leave them. All right, now we're gonna take this off right here, this right card right there, and we're also gonna take off this wire connection right here. So this one's a bit more delicate. As you can see, it's very tight. So this is where these plastic spatulas come in play, or I don't know what they're called. All right, got that. There's also another one right here, and this isn't really a safety line. It's more of a, there's a blue tape right here. And we're gonna pull that off. We're not gonna take it off all the way. I want to make sure I'm putting everything back in place. But now we're gonna pull this back. All right, and make sure you don't bend this wire. So when you pull it off, make sure it's very sticky. As you can tell, it has some residue, so you don't want to bend it. You want to try to keep it in place as is. All right, so this tape right here, it's an adhesive. I don't want it. Okay, so try to pull it off gently. You don't want to damage it. Okay, now we're going to take this card off right here. So go ahead and get this off again. It's on the way. Get your screwdriver and unscrew that. And we're going to save that screw. And I'm going to call it, let's see. It's, I'm gonna call it Intel Killer, just so I know I took it off from there. So if you got smaller cups, it'd be best, but it's what I had. So put that there. And this one, there's little clips right there. I don't know if you can tell, they're very small. Let's see. Let me zoom in for you. Right there, you see? All right, they're very small. So you want to get underneath and you want to pull them up. Now I took off the screw. Maybe I shouldn't have, because honestly it looks like it's moving the. Okay, that's one. That's two. All right, there's no safety latch here, so go ahead and maneuver it. Get the bigger ones and pull it gently on each side. Okay, and we got that off. Okay, I'm gonna put that right there for right now. Okay, so there you go. And I put that right there just so you can see. I hope I got it on camera. All I did was just pull it off slowly. And here there is another screw right here that I'm gonna have to take off. Let's see, where is it? There we go. It's a black screw. This is a motherboard screw. So I'm gonna put that right there. I'm gonna mark them right now. Just wanna make sure I got them all off. All right, there's one more thing to take off on this section right here. There is another wire. So go ahead, flip it up. Get your small clipper things and take it off. Okay, it's off. All right, now we're gonna work on this side. So let's go ahead, pull this back. Same thing as the other side. There is a screw in here. So I marked my cup already, and I called it fan left. Now these aren't the correct terms for it. I'm just marking it simply. It's a lot easier. All right, and right here, this is just the pull out cable. So I'm gonna make sure it's a little loose though. One thing, that's what I will do. And I'm gonna use my hands for this. So I don't want to pull it. Instead, what I want to do is just push it back and forth. I can't really see what this thing right here. Ugh. So tight. Let's see. Just don't want to damage it, so. Okay. I want to go slow on this, as you do not want to damage These small parts right here, really small. All right. Okay, got it off. And let's see what else we gotta take off. Guys, so this cable, make sure you pull it back a bit because it's not gonna be in our, just to make sure it's on our way. There's a little glue adhesive, which is, we're gonna use that to pull right now. We pull this one on the side as well to pull it up. Make sure you don't bend the wires. And we got one more piece to take off right there. So go to your screwdriver, take it off, and this right here, you want to make sure you got that. This one's going to be a little bit tight, so make sure you got this one right here because it has a little locking mechanism. You don't want to damage this part. This is your charging cable. So let's go ahead and see if I can pick this up through here. Okay. Just gotta make sure there's no cables before I even do anything. I don't want to end up damaging my computer before I even pick it up. Okay. It looks like there's no more screws, so just have to make sure. Okay. All right. So I lifted up a bit right here on the edge. Let me see if I could take it off with this right here. Maybe now that's a little bit looser. There you go. Okay, so before I even go on, let me mark this. This is my power cord. So let me put that in there. Okay. All right, guys. So now let's lift it up. So do it gently, one side. Make sure your cables aren't in the way. Make sure nothing is pulling it. So this one's the... Okay. Okay, guys. Now you got this to work on. Now you can see this thing is covered with dust. That's probably why it made so much noise. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and replace a lot of this stuff. Just the heat sinks, the thermals. It's just a maintenance thing that I want to make sure nothing happens to my computer. I mean, it's an expensive computer. So let me go ahead and move this out the way, and then we'll work on that. All right, so let me go ahead and clean this out the way. Let me clean it up and put it out the way. All I'm gonna do is use my toothbrush and a little air blower. If you don't got it, a toothbrush is fine, and you can use like a baby nose blower, whatever you have available. Just don't use a vacuum. Or there's some that you could buy that are meant for this. All right, guys, so this is what we're left with right here. I'm gonna go ahead and switch my screw tip, because this here is a 0. Well, actually, let me test it out. Maybe too big. So that was a 0. That was a 00. This is a 0. So let's try this here. It looks pretty good. Oh, too big, guys. I'm gonna make sure I got the correct size. I do not want to strip these. Okay, this looks about good. So this one is the last, I guess, screws. I'm not really gonna separate them. I'm gonna keep them together. Good thing is, it looks like if there's only two sizes and types of screws in this computer, so it really won't be an issue. And what I'm gonna do in this one is I'm gonna clean the fans and I'm gonna oil them up, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the thermal paste and just pretty much make sure that all my stuff is good. Okay, let's see what else. And this here would be your RAMs if you want to upgrade them, I guess. Now would be the time. Alright, now let me see what else I gotta do right here. Alright guys, so I took these off. Now I'm gonna go with these smaller ones. So that one's gonna be the 000. This is the actual dangerous part of well, actually, before I even do this, let me see if I can take it off. So go ahead and take this connection off. This is just the pull connection. So just do it gently. You don't want to. This is the fan connections. That's one. Let's see. You got these two right here as well. Do it gently. If you could use your fingernail, I guess you could also do that. Just want to make sure you don't screw it up. Okay. Let's see. Just do it gently, guys. And try not to move your motherboard a lot. You don't want to damage it. Got some thinner ones here. Okay. Let's see what we got. Okay, it's still tight, so that means these are going to be holding it in place. This is a bit more dangerous once you start getting into the actual heatsink, but that's the only way you're going to be able to replace your paste. Just make sure you don't lose any of these screws. These screws are super small, like that small. So keep them there. Make sure you got everything, and every once in a while, always touch like your silicone pad or wood with your screwdriver. That will de-energize it. It's not guaranteed that it'll be a perfect, I guess, you know, de-energization, but it's better that than messing up your computer. Now, there was a possibility of me replacing my fan. I'm not sure that I need to, because I feel it still works. But you know, if I did have to, well, you know, now, I mean, I know how to do this. I'll just have, now I can see what part by the serial number. Once I lift it up, it's right there. There's another one right there too, so I'll have to check out the serial, and if it needs it, well, next time I'll be able to just pretty much order that piece. Only drawback is that I'll have to open it up again. All right, right here there is a little tape. Yeah, MSI does this a lot. You know, if I could have gone back, I probably wouldn't have purchased an MSI. Only not because they're bad computers, but because of the fact that I've read that there's been a lot of issues with their fans bad factory paste work, so bad thermals. But you know, it's a good computer, so kind of disappointed that I had this issue right off the bat, and disappointed that it's so expensive to even try to get this fixed. Okay guys, just let me check that I'm not pulling off anything else where there's a screw. So there's another piece right here. Let me just check if there's not a screw under here. I'm not trying to destroy this computer. It's an expensive computer, so you know. It doesn't look like it. So let me see if I can little by little start pulling it off. I don't want to damage anything. Feels really tight though. Let me check the bottom. There might be a screw or something holding it in place. It doesn't seem like it though. So let me just check the top. It feels loose. So I know what it, you know what it probably is the thermal pads holding it in place. So let me see if I can. Don't bend this, guys. Always, you know, make sure you got it really loose, like really super loose, like before you even put pressure on this. You do not want to bend this. Okay, I don't think, let me check if I gotta remove the RAM just in case. I do not want to destroy this. Okay, you got clips right here. You got that right there. That's the RAM, 16 gigabyte. Whenever you put it on, make sure you put it on correctly, or else your computer is gonna have some issues. So this is what it be. Okay. I don't think there's another one. All right, guys. So what I'm gonna do here, once I looked it up online a bit, it's the thermal paste and the thermal, whatever it's called. It's pretty much the thermal pads, sorry, that are making it a little bit difficult to take off. What you do is just maneuver it, kind of heat them up, make sure that they're not making super, like as you can tell, it's lifted up. It's lifting little by little. There we go. Okay. So as you can see, these have pretty much, wow. This is a pretty, I'm guessing this is why it was overheating, if you can tell from this. So here you got thermal paste, and here we have thermal paste as well. We got thermal pads right there. What I'm gonna do instead, and I don't wanna, they look in good condition. They're still sticky, so they're good. These as well. Just gonna maneuver it as well a little bit. What I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna level this out right here, and I'm gonna be replacing the thermal pad, or the thermal paste, sorry. I'm just gonna clean this up, clean that up, and put it back in place. And again, clean the fans, because these are crazy dirty. So let me go ahead and fix this up, as I do not want to pretty much cause any damage to this. And you know, I wish MSI would actually post like tutorials and tools needed for this, instead of, you know, just guessing. That's one of the reasons why I didn't buy new thermal pads. I mean, apart from it maybe not needing it. So let me put this a little bit over there, this a little bit over there, so I could put this here. Okay. Okay, guys. So this is it. All right, first things first, let me clean the fans and get all the dust out of here before I even attempt to do any of this. So let's move the camera over here. This is the first one. So I clean that off right here. So let's go ahead and clean this off. Gently, get a toothbrush. You don't want to put any pressure on it. Yeah. Same thing on back. Now, some of these are removable. I'm going to try to see if these are so I can oil them up. Alright guys, so it went from whatever that looked like to this. So it's pretty much clean. I still got a little bit right there, you can see. Just gonna use that and use my little air pressure can. And this isn't gonna damage it. This is a soft bristle toothbrush. And again, if it is damaged, just replace this part. I'm gonna take a picture of this actually, as I want to remember. So if it ever does mess up, I know what to replace it with. All right, so now let's get the heat sink. So this right here, this would be your vents. You can tell, I don't know if you can tell right there. Let's see. But it's really dusty. This would be what exits out to your computer. This comes in. So this is it. This is your thermal pads. And I wish these guys would give like the size of this so I could just replace it. I mean, if they're good, if they're new, it's not an issue, but still, you know, if you're going through the trouble of opening it up, you might as well just replace a lot of the maintenance stuff. So go ahead, give this a scrub down, and you would press your pressure right there. You can see through it, so I know I'm good. If you can't, you better clean that, as your computer's gonna get clogged up. And this is the other part, guys, right here. I'm gonna go and put it up here. If you guys ever need to replace this, look at that. Yeah, one thing I will say, MSI, put your thermal pad thickness online. Come on, that's some bullshit. You guys don't do that. So again, same thing, scrub it. I looked at a video online, and apparently you can actually put some oil in this to clean it up a bit. I'm gonna see if I could find that video and do it myself. If not, I'll just leave it like this. It's pretty clean now. All right, guys, so I opened up my fan. You can tell there's some dirt in here, but relatively in here it's clean. So I'm just gonna clean this off with the rag and some alcohol. All right. Let me get a rag. Okay. And it'll just be this part right here. The other one's clean, doesn't have anything. So it might have just been an issue with the that my fans were dirty. Now, I mean, they're not extremely dirty. You know, I've seen dirtier ones online, but still, you don't want to have your computer that's super expensive being that dirty, you know. So let me give this one more brush before I put it back in, and I'll show you guys how to put it back in. It's not complicated. So and this is on all the fans for this laptop. So there's a little metal thing right there. You just put it in place, and it's like a magnet, and it pushes it in. There you go. All right, so that's that. Now, if I ever do another repaste or an upgrade, maybe 3 or 2 years from now, then I will oil up my fans, or maybe I'll just replace them in general, just to have them clean. So let me go ahead and clean off the heatsink and the thermal paste on the motherboard. I'm not gonna replace the thermal pads. I'm gonna leave those as is. Instead, I'm gonna figure out which ones, I guess, what's better for them, and just leave it at that. All right, guys. So whatever. So I was gonna replace it with all the thermal pads with thermal paste, but I'm not. Instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace all this with thermal paste, because that's what it is, and I'm gonna leave the thermal pads, mainly being because they're pretty good. They're not in bad condition. They're still shiny, which means they're still working well. So let's go ahead and clean off all of this right here. So it's kind of dry, so that's probably one of the reasons why I'm having issues. This is like a 2-year-old computer, so it's not an old computer. You know, it has like a what's it called? It's like 3070 or something, NVIDIA. I mean, now it's old. Right now, there's newer versions of it, but during that time when this came out, that was, I mean, high end. So if you need some Q-tips, get some Q-tips. And this won't damage your computer, the alcohol, as long as you don't, like, you know, do some crazy stuff, I guess. But that's it. Clean that off. Let's see. Okay. And I mean, I contacted MSI for the thermal pad size. They were no help, honestly. Like, these people, man, they should at least have something online, you know? I mean, I know they want their money, and I know they want new people to always be buying stuff, but, you know, if you're gonna spend $2,000 on a computer, you know, it better be a good computer. You know, this laptop is honestly making me regret going with Windows again. I mean, I've always had Windows, but, you know, I'm considering going to Mac or Apple just because of this. Yeah, and it's not the software or any of that stuff. It's more mainly so the fact that I'm going through trouble just to do this. You know, they don't put any info online. Yeah, you got to pretty much go through YouTube to get this information. And by the way, I'm not a technician, so, you know, don't hold me responsible for any of this. You know, I'm just comfortable working on my computer. You know, so. And you want to make sure you always get it off 100%, as sometimes certain compounds don't get along with each other. And the last thing you want is for your computer to have some sort of issues only because you didn't clean it right all the way. Yeah, I'm trying to make it so that it doesn't get contact with nothing else, just that. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Once we're done with that, we'll clean this part off right here where that made contact. So just remember where all of them go. So this stuff, I mean, it's a very thick paste. Or it might be even a thermal pad, who knows? You know, this stuff feels super freaking heavy. Let me wipe this off with the... That's how heavy it is. I don't even know if it's thermal paste. It might be a thermal pad that melted. So, if you're watching this MSI, I want to know what this is, because honestly, you know, it costs a lot of money. So, and we're not all rich, so come on. Clean this off. All right, now we're going to go back again to this one right here, and this would be the final cleanup right there. I'm gonna go ahead and get a little Q-tip for that. Wow. You know, I don't know if this is dry or what. All right, so I got myself the Q-tip, like I said, and let's go ahead and clean this up. Now, if you don't get most of it, that's fine. You do want to get it though, so that it does not make a reaction with whatever else you're going to put on here. Okay. Yeah, let's get all this stuff off. Yep, so I think this might have been an actual pad that was melted, honestly. I don't even know how that happens. You know, this stuff, unless this was the only one taking the heat off, I guess. Yeah, because this doesn't feel like paste to me. So I guess I'm gonna return that other stuff I don't really need. I might as well just keep it just in case. Okay, I'm gonna break this right here to get it in between these cracks. Let me. So this might be an actual really long video, but you know, it's the only one out there, so at least with this model. You know, and if anybody can show me or recommend me a video on the thermal pad sizing or how they change from thermal pads to thermal paste, that'd be better. Maybe so next time I could do that. Okay. Alright, come on. Okay. Last bit right here. Here we go. Oh, come on. Okay. All right, that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this this and the thermal paste to these right here, and I'm gonna, well, just to that, I guess. The rest are gonna go over there. All right, guys, so let's start. So it's like a little thing right here. So it's very thick, super thick. So that's what you want in a thermal paste. Now this is not gonna look pretty at all. So you want to have something like that. So they did use thermal paste MSI on all this right here. Okay. Now you want to make sure the whole thing is covered, because when we squeeze it, it's gonna pretty much fall to the side, and it's gonna be real and I guess the minimum should be 1 millimeter, right? So maybe it's too much right here. Oh, yeah, that should be enough. Take some off right here as well. So that right there. Spread it around. Now this doesn't cause harm to any component of the PC. So if you get it on something, you know, don't worry about it. Now you don't want to though. Obviously you don't want to make your whole computer look like, you know, dirty, so don't put too much, I guess. But yeah. So let's go ahead and do this right here. Now the good thing is, if for next time, if this stuff still, you know, doesn't expire, I'll have enough for next time. All right. You want to make sure you put some here as well. These little ones had it as well. This might need a little bit more as they are thinner. Okay. And you know, after this, I'm gonna turn on my computer and see how it works, and I'll put the results. Now, one thing I recommend you do is check your BIOS updates. If you don't know how to do that, go to MSI and go to their website and look BIOS update. And they've updated my computer's BIOS to a new system. I don't know exactly what model I forgot I had, but point is mine was kind of old, and I don't know if that was also the case why my drivers weren't working, as I also had some flickering. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check, make sure my screen and everything's connected well before we do anything else. All right, also I'm gonna put this on the CPU and the CPU and GPU. So like I said, we're gonna use this type of thermal compound, and it doesn't have to be this one. This is just the one that I got recommended, and they said it was very good. I'm just gonna go here and here, and this will work for both CPU and GPU, so you don't have to buy anything extra. You don't have to use a different type of material or product. So this is how it looks. Okay, this is Kingpin, and this is KPX. Apparently it's a very good compound. I'm not a complete crazy technical person on this, but it's what I heard. So let's go ahead and do the X method. And I'm not worried about overspreading. This is a laptop, so the more I have, the better. So I'm probably gonna overdo it, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, because I do not want any overheating issues, especially since I already had them with this computer. And I'm not trying to pay MSI any more money to do the same thing that I would have done, because apparently they don't replace everything. So I don't want any issues with them. All right, so let's see how it works. Let's see the contact. So let me go ahead and put the fans back in place, and we'll go from there. So this is the back side of the thermal unit, or the cooling unit. So here you could align your screws. Same thing with that. Make sure your cable's on the other side and not on this side, so that when we flip it, it'll look something like this. And I guess you don't want them moving around. So let's go and line it all up. Or actually, before I even do this, I could just do this right here. So there's no issues right here. Line that up right there. And line that up right here. This will be a little bit more helpful. And it'll help me out too. And make sure you get exactly the same thing. You do not, once you close this, you're going to get a good connection. Anything out the way, move it. Or anything in the way. Okay. You want to make sure it has a good connection. So when we tighten this, it's good. It looks like it does. So check your edges. And hopefully it looks good. So I'm going to open it up one more time, just to see how it looks, and to see if I need more or if I need less. Just this alone will tell me. Okay. And it doesn't. I'm good. Again, so put it back in place. Okay, there we go. So let's start screwing everything back in place and get it in. All right, guys, so once you got that in place, go ahead and put your black screws in. This is your fan screws. This doesn't matter. These don't matter whatever order you want to put them in. Just make sure you got them correctly tightened. So just once you feel some sort of resistance, you're good. Okay. And I forgot to clean this part. Just a quick little. Doesn't really need it. Okay. And the last one goes here. All right, this is the last one, like I mentioned. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back and just make sure that each one is tightened, not super heavy, but enough to where I could feel some pressure. Okay, so got that out the way. Let's put our RAM back inside. So the same way it goes. So that's the way I do it. And you just push it in. And by the way, make sure you actually do it really tight, as if you don't do it correctly, your system won't pick it up. So you'll hear the click once it's in. This lets you know that it got in correctly and that everything's good. Okay, so make sure all your clips are in, or else you're gonna have to reopen your whole computer up again just to do this part. Okay, so push it in all the way and light pressure on each edge till you hear that click. All right, that's that. Now let's go to these screws right here. All right, so switch your tip to number 1 for these silver screws right here. And this is your GPU or CPU, wherever it's located on your computer. Screws right here. Again, you want to make sure it's tight, but not, not gonna break on you. And we're still gonna go back after, so don't keep them super tight. And try to go with the order that I just did. It's nothing crazy. It just gives an even pressure. So when you cross. Okay. And if everything goes good, we'll be able to use our computer again without any issues for at least another couple years. Which is what you want, especially when they're expensive. Okay. All right, next step is to put everything back in place. So the good thing is these are pretty much simple. Same place, same everything. We use both edges to do it. Once you feel it's tight, so you did it correctly. All right, let's do the other one. Okay. And again, once you feel it's tight again, you know you made it. Okay, that's not going nowhere. All right, now this one. Now this one had a tape, so let's lift up that tape and put it back in place. Okay, and you can hear that little pressure when it goes in. It's like an oomph. Okay. All right, guys, now when we're done with all this right here, let's get our case. So let's get this out the way. We've installed everything back on. It was just those screws. The rest are going to be screwed into every other hole that's there. So let's get our case and put it right there to get it ready. All right, okay, put it right there. All right, you want to flip it over now to what it originally was, and we're gonna go with something like this. So move all your cables, push them somewhere else. Okay, make sure nothing's in the way. Now right here, we're gonna be putting our, if you remember, we took off a power cord accessory. So let's get this and put it in place. So put all your wiring where it should be. And let's get that right there. And it was going like this. Okay, so what you can do here to make it easier on us is kind of push it in from the beginning so that it kind of clicks in. Let's see if it works. Maybe if I could do this right here from the beginning, right there. Okay. Let's see. You want to make sure. Oh, let's try this out instead. Okay. Get all our cables that are there. Make sure you don't hide any. You don't want to damage anything like I just did right there. Okay. You might have to mess with your frame a bit just to get that right there. All right, there's little notches right there that you could put them in, and let's see if it'll fit like this. If not, I'm gonna have to mess with it again. And again, make sure all your cables and stuff like that are over. You don't want to end up destroying your computer like that. This is going to be this is the hard part, guys, just assembling everything. Putting stuff back, it's a lot easier when it's simple, and MSI does not make it simple. Yeah, but you know, then again, neither does every other. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I think we got that. Okay, let's push this in a bit over here so you can get that in. You don't want to damage any of your ports or cables, so make sure you got all these cables out the way as well. Try to push them up and try to make sure that it's not damaged. Okay, let's see, something's in the way. It's probably that thing still. It's already screwed in place. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Okay, so just make sure everything's safe. Make sure everything's in the right proper place. You don't want to end up damaging anything. So if you feel something's a bit tight or loose, just make sure you're correct before you actually put anything inside. Okay, so as you can see, this one keeps bothering me. Okay, make sure it hits the notches. Put your tape right there, the notch. Okay, everything's safe. Okay, well, that's out the way. Okay, so you can start off with whichever one you feel comfortable with. I'm just gonna go do this one right here, just because it's already here. Let's see, and I have to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be. Just give me a second. I want to make sure it's pulled all the way back. There you go. There's a little bit left. Okay, so push it in. This one is just a straight in push. Okay, this one as well. Well, actually, before we put this one, let's go ahead and put, that one was for SSD right there. This one's for the case. This one's for the battery. You got the left fan for it'd be, and it was, where was that one at? Just give me this. It was right there. Okay, we're gonna put the Intel, the wireless Wi-Fi adapter slash killer. Okay, so make sure all your cables are not in your way. Make sure it's safe. And this one, remember, was just a simple, let me get my, okay, let's get that right there. Put some pressure. Okay. Okay. So make sure we got it in the proper, safe place. Let's put our screw in. And before you do that, let me just give it one more tap. I just want to make sure it's actually in all the way. I don't want to end up having to open up the computer. Okay. Okay, you want tight, but not extremely like it's about to break. Sort of, you know. And the tape went under. Let me see. See if I can pull it out. And no, I'm gonna take this off just so I can take that tape off and put it over the Ethernet cable. This is why MSI, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. They always do this. Okay, let's see. Come on, cable. Ugh, come on. And I don't think this tape even does anything. I just, you know, I want to make sure that everything's back in place the way it was. Okay, that's in. Now screw. And give it some more pressure just in case. Actually, guys, before I forget, you guys gotta remember. See, I was about to mess up already. Get that out. And get your notches out right there. See that? These cables, the ones that were right here, there you go. There we go. So there we go. Now I can put this in. So get these out the way because, I mean, it's okay. And the tape again went in. So get that out the way again. Okay. Now let's push the card in. Okay, fits. Now we put the screw in. Okay. All right. All right, guys, so here it is. I'm gonna put this one in first. Now this is gonna be difficult. They're very small. So I'm gonna try to show you with this. I'm gonna hold it like that, and I'm gonna pressure with my tweezers. Hopefully you can hear it click. There you go. And now the last one. And by the way, the first one would be your red, okay? That would be your I guess your red cable. Let's get right there. I don't know if you can see that right there. And the second one would actually be your black cable. This one has a screw in the wing. There's so much shit here. Let me see if I can do it this way. I can hold that down with my other hand. Okay. Okay, there you go. So let's give this a tap. Just make sure they're all tight. All right, we're good. Now let's put that on the side so it's not bothering anything. Right there. All right, put the tape back where it was. And let's go ahead All right, now let's go ahead and get this one in. Well, actually, before we do that, all right, so we put that in already. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this down right here. This was the power cord cable thing. All right, now we're gonna work on this one. So I stretched it out to what it was. You can see the tape's right there. I want to try to put it back in place the same way it was. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and tighten this down right there. Make sure it fits. And you don't want to bend this too much, so try to do it as flat as you can. If you gotta pull this from the back, it's better so that it could have some slack. Okay, and you want to tighten it with your hands a bit and close it up. Just got to make sure that it's in. Okay, test it out, see if it pulls. You can see it doesn't, so that means we're good. Okay, there was a screw right there. That was a black screw, so it's this one right here. Okay, so I went ahead and put the screw in. It's a black screw, the one I was talking about, the motherboard. Try to make it so that the glue reactivates again just a bit. All right, now we're gonna put this piece in. This would be your power cable or your power switch cable. It's very small. You can, let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, turn that to the side. And you do not want to damage this. All right, there you go. This one came in pretty smooth. Okay, there you go. And you find this down. Let me just make sure one more time. Okay, let's close it. All right, that's it. All right, so we're almost done, guys. Then I'll turn it on and show you guys how it works. Because we did turn off the battery though, we're gonna have to connect it and power the cycle on with the charger. You cannot turn it on like that anymore. It has to be exactly the way it is. Okay, let's see, we got that, we got this. All right, let's head to the SSD. The SSD was this piece right there. So that's how it looks. Let me get this spec off. I don't know what that is right there. All right, so this is pretty simple. You go ahead and push it in. There's a little slot right there. Try not to touch the thermal pad that much. Got stuck. Come on. Okay. Just use your leverage. Don't try to damage it or anything like that. Okay. Get the screw that we marked that was for the SSD. And actually, before we do that, let's just give it one more push, just to make sure it's really tight in there. Okay. Now line it a bit. All right. Tighten it. Remember, you want it hand tight, not machine tight. So don't put all your pressure on these things, because you might actually damage it instead of working for you. All right. Now we're gonna go one by one on all these things. All right. All right. You can feel right away when it's going in. So let's put that one's in. Do this one more time. Okay. And now we're gonna shut that off right there. Or not shut it off, we're gonna close it. All right. Tape's in the way again. Thanks, MSI. All right, got another one right here. Okay, make sure it's tight in there. You want to make sure that it's not gonna get loose. You flatten it, you test it out. There's a little bit of movement here, so I'm gonna give it one more time. Okay, just to make sure. Okay, same thing with this one. Okay, close it. You might have to lift up this plastic again and close it with your hand. Okay, so we got this done. The only thing we got now is this screw that was on the left hand side right there. Let me just give it one more check. I do not want to skip something. There we go. It was right here. All right, so there's one more cable. This, I marked it left fan, or one more screw, sorry. Let's go ahead and install it. And it's under this plastic. All right. Forgot to put this one in right here before we put on the battery. So this here is keyboard, I think. Yeah, most likely. Oh no, that's your audio right there. All right. Plug it in, and we're good. You can feel that right away when it goes in. All right, everything feels tight. Before we start doing anything else, everything feels good, tight. All right, now we got the battery to put on again. So I don't have any more screws right there. Here's what I do have, the battery screws. So let's go ahead and put it in. All right. So align everything, make sure everything is good. Okay. Everything feels good. All right, so let's go ahead and connect the battery. Remember, it was right here. Go ahead and push it in. If you don't want to put any pressure with your hands, you can get, again, your plastic, well, if you have any. Put some there, some there. The cables are so small, I don't want to cause any damage. Okay. Snug. Okay, last bit. Let me just check it one more time. All right, that feels good. So let's put the battery back in place. Put the cable under. Okay. So we got that. Make sure everything feels good. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the black screw. It's the smallest one, just so I don't have to keep changing. Well, actually, I might just start with that, with the rest. Doesn't really matter. Okay. All right, guys. So I put a screw right there, and a screw right there. The last one is this small one. I gotta change it to the 000. And it went right there. All right. That is pretty much it for the assembly. The only thing now is just the case. And we are done, and I will power it up and show you guys how it looks. All right. So let's get our case and put everything back in place. Let's give it a tightening. You can feel the clips go in. Okay. You might have to work at it. Just make sure everything is tight. All right, so let's start. Hopefully everything is good and we don't have any issues. So let's start at number 1. So it's looking good. I didn't miss any screws. And you know, even if you do this like 100 times, you're still gonna be nervous. You know, and I just imagine the guys that have to work and this sort of thing, you know, I mean, they're probably used to it, but you know, you don't want to end up messing up a client's computer, and especially be liable for a gaming one that's worth $2,000 or $3,000 or whatever amount it might be. It's probably going to be a long video. I don't think anybody that watches my construction videos or my guide videos are going to care for this, but you know, it's something that I've always liked doing. And I think I would have liked, honestly, working in this sort of field instead of a lot of construction, mainly for the money. You know, it takes a long time, at least non-union construction. It takes a long time to make decent money, and decent money is not the money you make in like unions. I'm talking about non-union decent money. So, you know, it's a lot lower. And when I say that, I'm talking about employees, not employers. You know, obviously, if you're a non-union contractor, you could still make good money. You know, 150K, 200K, 300K is pretty common. But, you know, as a worker, unions are probably the best route for you. A lot of people don't like them, but, you know, I've actually had a guy say he doesn't like them because the lazy worker gets paid the same. And, you know, I've been working union all my life. I'm non-union all my life. So I'm just like thinking in my head, like, dude, when I've been in non-union companies, like the lazy worker I'm not saying he got worked, but he got, you know, like he was never tired, dude, because, you know, he'd be kicking it, and the hard-working guy would be all busted up and tired, and they get paid the same. So, you know, I don't know what he's talking about, but, you know, everybody has their own opinions. Okay. And as I mentioned before, I updated my BIOS already. I think I should have done a video on that because MSI doesn't really put a lot of information out there. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and take this tapes off and put it in my pretty much a room, connect my cable, and see if it turns on or not. And obviously, if it doesn't, then you guys can laugh at me. If not, well, you know, give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. All right, catch you guys later. All right, first startup, after plugging in the adapter, the battery adapter cable, charging cable, and it works.